David had built a company worth millions. He owned luxury cars, a beautiful home, financial freedom, everything society tells us to chase. Yet on one cold evening, he sat alone in his office and admitted something he had never told anyone. He wasn't happy. In fact, he was exhausted. The strange part wasn't that he felt unhappy. The strange part was that every new success seemed to make it worse. David wasn't born wealthy. He grew up watching his parents struggle to pay bills. As a teenager, he made himself a promise. One day he would become successful enough that money would never be a problem again. That promise became the center of his life. His first business succeeded, then another, then another. Friends celebrated his achievements, but something strange started happening. Every victory felt satisfying for only a few days. Then he immediately began chasing the next one. David missed birthdays, family gatherings, vacations. Even when he was physically present, his mind was somewhere else. His wife noticed it first. Every achievement simply created a new target. Nothing ever felt like enough. The company kept growing. So did David's anxiety. The more successful he became, the more afraid he was of losing everything. Winning no longer felt exciting. Losing became terrifying. One night David looked around his office. He had achieved every goal he had once dreamed about. Yet he felt emptier than ever. For years he had been running toward success. Now he realized he had no idea how to stop. David spent months trying to understand what was happening to him. At first, he blamed stress. Then he blamed the economy. Then he blamed the responsibilities of leadership. But deep down, he knew none of those explanations felt right, because the strange feeling had followed him for years. It had been there after his first successful deal, after buying his first house, after hiring his first employees, after every major milestone. Each time he reached a goal, he expected satisfaction, and each time the satisfaction disappeared faster than the last. It was as if happiness kept moving further away, like a finish line that shifted every time he got close. One evening, he opened an old box of photographs, pictures from his early 20s, back when he had nothing, back when he believed success would solve everything. He stared at those photos for a long time, and suddenly a disturbing question entered his mind. If the younger version of himself could see him now, would he actually be happy? Or would he simply create a new goal and keep running? For the first time in his life, David stopped asking how to achieve more, and started asking why he could never feel satisfied. The answer was hiding in plain sight. David had spent years believing he was chasing success. But success wasn't what he was really chasing. What he was chasing was the feeling that success promised: security, validation, worth, acceptance. As a child, he had watched his parents struggle financially, and somewhere deep inside him, he formed a belief, a dangerous belief, that his value as a person depended on his achievements. Every promotion became proof that he mattered. Every business victory became proof that he was enough. The problem was that achievements can never permanently satisfy emotional needs, because emotional needs don't disappear. They simply demand more. The bigger David's success became, the more terrified he became of losing it. Winning stopped feeling rewarding. It became necessary. Success had transformed from a dream into a dependency, and dependencies are never satisfied. They only grow. Without realizing it, David had spent years feeding a hunger that could never be completely full. What happened to David happens to far more people than most realize. Not everyone becomes a millionaire. Not everyone builds a company. But millions of people live the same pattern. They tell themselves, "I'll be happy when ... I'll be happy when I get married. I'll be happy when I buy a house. I'll be happy when I get promoted. I'll be happy when I have more money." And for a brief moment, happiness arrives. Then life adjusts. The achievement becomes normal, and the mind immediately searches for another mountain to climb, another target, another victory, another reason to postpone contentment. Many people spend decades chasing a future version of happiness, never realizing that happiness was never waiting at the finish line. Because there's always another finish line, always another goal, always another level. The race never ends on its own. At some point, the runner has to decide to stop running. Years later, David still runs his company. He still sets goals. He still works hard. But there is one difference. He no longer believes the next achievement will finally complete him, because he learned something most people discover too late. The most dangerous prison is not made of walls. It is made of expectations. The expectation that one more success will finally be enough. One more victory. One more promotion. One more accomplishment. One more milestone. For years, David thought he was pursuing freedom. What he was really pursuing was a moving target. And moving targets can never be caught. Sometimes the greatest act of wisdom isn't learning how to win. It's learning when winning is no longer the answer. Because at the end of life, nobody asks how many goals you achieved. The real question is much simpler. While you were busy chasing everything, did you ever allow yourself to truly live?